released in 1998, and afterwards, Mega Man would go into hiatus for nearly a decade. Well, classic Mega Man, that is. X would see a few more games afterwards, not to mention Zero, ZX, Legends, Battle Network, Star Force. All of these would continue after Mega Man and Bass, but as for the original Blue Bomber that started it all, he was absent for most of the 2000s. That was until 2008 when the next entry in the classic series was finally revealed. Mega Man 9 would bring the series back to its roots in multiple ways, with Mega Man 2 being cited as a major influence on the game, not to mention the 7th generation of consoles giving way to digital storefronts that saw a rise in retro gaming. It just made sense to make a retro revival of classic Mega Man at the time, and this go-around, Capcom would partner with developer Inti Creates, which is a name that might sound familiar to fans of the Mega Man Zero series. Well, they would now be taking up the task of bringing the classic Blue Bomber back to life. Mega Man 9 would release in September of 2008 on WiiWare, Xbox Live Arcade, and PlayStation Network. This did mean that for the longest time, the only way to play Mega Man 9 was digitally, which would be a problem, especially for the Wii, as in 2019, the Wii Shop channel was shut down for good. Fortunately, the game was included in the Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, which preserved the game for modern consoles and brought it to PC for the first time. Now, I have played Mega Man 9 before, but I've never finished it until this video. I do know that while at the time of its release, Mega Man 9 was loved by fans, there was one point of tension that I have seen become more prevalent, that being if the game took way too many steps backwards, as we're not only going back to 8-bit graphics, but parts of the gameplay were simplified as well. I suppose that is something we should keep in mind as we dive back into the world of classic Mega Man, so let's not waste any more time and see if Mega Man 9 was a great revival of the series, or if it did go overboard with going backwards. A full year has passed since the whole King incident, and of course, robots have once again started going haywire. However, the robots in question were all creations of Dr. Light. This is then worsened when Dr. Wily appears on television and shows the world a recording of Light asking Wily to join him in world conquest. With no proof to save him, Dr. Light is arrested. The adventure for truth leads to the incidents that shock the entire world. The story takes our hero Mega Man from Light's lab to Wily's newest capsule. Mega Man 9. Farewell, Mega Man. Forever. Okay, we still got like a few more games before we reach that point. I digress. So while yes, we are going back to Mega Man 2 in a lot of aspects, we do at least get a save system with an assload of save files to pick from. We even have some extras which we'll save for later. We have 8 new robot masters to take on, all of which are creations of Dr. Light and, holy shit, Splash Woman. That's cool to see that we finally have a girl robot master, but this just begs the question, what the hell took so long for women to get some representation in the robot master community? I mean, there's Roll, I guess, but there's not really much else. I opted for Galaxy Man as my first boss, as I remember his stage being pretty fun, and I gotta say, my memory was spot on. Honestly, this stage could serve as a great reintroduction back into the world of classic Mega Man. It's pretty safe at the start, with it only giving us a little bit of a taste of incident spikes, and it shows us that bolts are back, meaning yes, Auto Shop is once again a thing. Honestly, it doesn't start getting crazy until the ending bit, with these teleporters that carry Mega Man's momentum through them. Now, let's get this out of the way first, that being the game's graphics, as it's the most obvious part of it. Yes, we have gone back to the look of the NES games, which is somewhat of a disappointment coming off of 7, 8, and Bass, but that doesn't mean that the game's graphics are limited to the NES itself. This game is still popping with details and colors that the NES could only dream of achieving. Honestly, I would say it's more comparable to a Sega Master System game than the NES. Not to mention the lack of sprite flickering is really nice, although you can enable that if you want to for some fucking reason, you freak. As for Galaxy Man himself, he demonstrates that the bosses of Mega Man 9 are, similarly to everything else in the game, simplified. He can jump in the air and spawn a fucking black hole which will try to suck Mega Man in. Fortunately, you can kinda just run from it. He can also quickly fly from one side of the arena to the other, but if you time your jumps just right, then you can avoid him entirely. This is why I think Galaxy Man is great to start off with. His attack patterns are very simple and easy to learn, and the reward you get for beating him is probably one of the best weapons in the entire game. For sending Galaxy Man to meet Stephen Hawking, we get the Black Hole Bomb, which is a fantastic weapon. You spawn it, then with a press of the attack button, it becomes stationary, expands, and sucks everything that comes near it in. This is amazing for taking care of enemies that you don't want to deal with, and it's great for grinding as well. Now, before we jump into the next boss, let's discuss the shop. You can once again find screws in stages or pick them up from defeated enemies. You can then spend those in Otto's shop on various items to help you on your journey. You can buy extra lives, E-tanks, and M-tanks, which are finally back after being absent since Mega Man 8. You can even buy assists from Eddie and Beat, the ability to not get one-shot by spikes for a stage, the energy balancer, or give Roll her Mega Man 8 attire for some reason. It's great to have all of that available, but I swear it felt like they were pretty stingy with the screws in this game. Enemies rarely dropped them, and the times that they were in stages, there were a few instances where I couldn't grab them, and you might say, well, just use the slide. Well, I tried that, but I think my damn controller is busted because I can't slide.
CeeCee, you do know that Mega Man doesn't have the slide or charge shot anymore, right?
What?! They got rid of the slide and charge shot? Why? Like, okay, I can maybe do without the charge shot. That being gone doesn't bother me too much, but the slide was such a natural extension to Mega Man's moveset that opened up a ton of level design possibilities in past games. That would be like if Nintendo took away Mario's ability to grab stuff in the next Mario game. Sure, it seems fine on the surface, but that simple addition allowed for more inventive level design. Alright, so next up is Jewel Man, whose stage was perfectly fine until this ass fuck of a jump. These swinging platforms are cool, but why the fuck is this tight jump lined with spikes? That's then followed by a mini-boss, which is just a bunch of stupid boulders that drop down, and you gotta shoot the one with the face that, fuck you killed me one too many times, you bitch! The rest of the stage is nice, although this place has some kind of freakish hard-on for spikes in the worst places imaginable, and they all involve these swinging platforms. I mean, seriously, this whole room is lined with spikes and you gotta jump around the swing to get to this 2-tile gap in the floor. At least the Legacy Collection adds a checkpoint system, so if you wanna, you could abuse that and pretty much have infinite lives, but that's ultimately up to you. Jewel Man will just run back and forth across the boss arena and spawn this shield made of jewels, which he can then launch at you as a means of attack. He can also jump, but I think he only does that when you jump, so you can actually use that to your advantage and just kind of walk under him. His weakness is the Black Hole Bomb, which just eats his shield like nothing, and of course deals large chunks of damage to his health, so just by spamming it, he goes down in no time at all. For shattering Jewel Man, we obtain the Jewel Satellite, which, holy fuck yes, this thing is awesome! Sure, its weapon energy could be better, but this thing chews through projectiles from enemies and stays up the entire time. It takes some serious abuse before this thing is spent, which makes it probably one of the best shield weapons in all of classic Mega Man. What did I say my favorite shield was before? Junk Shield? Man, fuck Junk Shield! All my homies hate Junk Shield. Now Jewel Satellite is my best friend. I'm honestly shocked it took this long for us to have a Plug Man. The start of this stage is great for grinding, by the way, especially thanks to the Black Hole Bomb. We also get the return of those damn disappearing blocks that honestly weren't that bad. Sure, spikes are involved with the platforming, but because of how short the stage is, if you fuck up, it's not too punishing because you're really not sent that far back. The latter part of this stage takes place in Advanced Darkness, where you gotta do some platforming, all the while Shadow Mega Man will just manifest and try to chase you. And God, they come out of static too. They're faster than Mega Man as well. Some scary stuff, actually. Almost as scary as this jumping section near the end of the level. Like I said, Plug Man's stage is pretty short, so all of these incident spikes can be forgiven. Somewhat. Plug Man will alternate between little bunny hops and a full-on jump, all the while he'll fire out electric energy balls from his plug arm, which will run along the floor, up the wall, and onto the ceiling. His weakness is the Jewel Satellite, which not only blocks his main method of attack, but thanks to the fact that you can launch the shield, that means you can safely take him down from a bit of a distance. For breaking Plugman's prongs off in a wall socket, we steal his Plug Ball. This is a neat weapon that'll run along the floor, making it great for grounded enemies, but it can also run up and down walls and even cling to ceilings, which is fantastic. You know, we are only 3 bosses in, and all of their weapons have been bangers in some form or fashion. Hopefully it stays like that. Now we must sort of disguise to take on Tornado Man, and Oh, this stage. These magnetic spinning cylinders, I did not like these things at all. You gotta use them to cross this massive pit, all the while avoiding touching these spikes along the way. I spent way too much time on this shit, like I was getting so frustrated that when I finally did get past it, I was super careful till I crossed the level's checkpoint. But then these assholes have the gall, the nerve to then follow that up with ice platforms above spikes. But when I saw that pop up saying that I reached the level checkpoint, I never felt so relieved in my life. It's weird because the rest of the stage isn't that bad. We get caught in a rainstorm which pushes Mega Man back when he jumps, but the platforming accounts for that, but then it starts pushing you forward instead, allowing you to make some large-ass leaps, and thankfully, the Jewel satellite put in the work protecting me from these umbrella robots. Tornado Man will summon little mini tornadoes that will try to blow air up our ass, and while that attack is active, you can actually get higher jumps thanks to the wind from the attack, but you want to be careful as to not collide with these spikes embedded in the ceiling. His weakness is the plug ball, and if you manage to get right next to him, you can just pump him full of that shit and wipe his ass out in a matter of seconds. For shocking Tornado Man to dust, we get the Tornado Blow. When used, this creates a gust of wind that can allow Mega Man to jump higher, as well as spawn these mini tornadoes which will shred through smaller enemies and deal pretty good damage to the larger ones. It's not quite a screen nuke, but given everything else that it does, I'm fine with that. Plus, it's nice to have something that can take care of these small, annoying enemies really fast. With 4 Robot Masters down, we managed to pick up a piece of scrap off of one of them where Otto was able to figure out that those robots were all past their expiration dates and were scheduled to be scrapped. That's a new concept, the fact that the Robot Masters have expiration dates and are mandated by law to be decommissioned afterwards. I imagine Mega Man, Roll, and Otto are all exempt from this given their role in saving the world multiple times, but then again, what if they aren't? What happens when the Blue Bomber has to go? Well, that's a question that's never gonna get truly answered as we move on to our next Robot Master, Magma Man. Of course, this level has insta-kill lava pits and a ton of enemies that will attack with fire, although fortunately most of them can be dispatched up quickly. That even extends to the mini-boss, which the Black Hole Bomb gives the thing the good old suck! Honestly, the thing you should worry about the most is those tubes that dump out a stream of magma. You know, those actually kind of remind me of the Quick Man beams from Mega Man 2. Hell, I wouldn't be shocked if they lifted those from Mega Man 2 at some point. And I say that because the more you play this, you start to realize this is just Mega Man 2.5 HD Remix. Mega Man is about as mobile as he was in 2 since the slide and charge shot are gone, and I've already said that the boss attacks are more simplified like in Mega Man 2, but that also extends to other areas like the music. The boss intro, boss clear, and even the Wily Castle intro are all ripped right out of that game. I get Mega Man 2 was the most popular game in the series at the time, and that they likely wanted to capitalize on that, but playing this years later, and with my personal opinions about the other games, I can't help but feel that this was a bit too much. Magma Man will jump around his boss arena, and every time he jumps, he'll launch 3 fireballs from his arm cannon which spread out for coverage, and those can be powered up if the flame on his head gets big. Fortunately, the Tornado Blow not only deals good damage to him, but it also extinguishes that flame, making his attacks weak, allowing you to get the upper hand and put him out for good. For blowing Magma Man away, we take his Magma Bazooka for ourselves. This is yet another great special weapon. Not only does it have pretty good weapon energy consumption, not only does it fire in a spread, allowing for fantastic coverage, but it can be charged for larger fireballs, which of course deal even more damage to enemies. It's a great alternative weapon that you definitely will get some great usage out of. Next up is Hornet Man stage is pretty cool, although it has a fetish for spikes. I suppose that's fair since hornets, bees, wasps, they all come equipped with painful pointy bits. The mini-boss of this stage is neat though. You have to avoid this flower arm which rotates around like a clock arm, all the while shooting this dancing flower. You also need to be careful not to fall into the spike pit that's below the arena. The second half has you using these chameleon tail platforms to cross this bed of spikes, all the while avoiding scissors. And then you have to destroy these pottery robots, which launch flower missiles, which those missiles are great for grinding, by the way. After nabbing this extra life, we can take on the boss. Hornet Man is pretty simple, all things considered. He'll summon in 3 Hornets, which will then chase Mega Man for a few seconds before despawning, and after summoning his swarm, he'll run to the other side of the arena to repeat his attack. He, of course, is a bee, so with a few well-placed fireballs, dude pops like a balloon, allowing us to move on. For cooking Hornet Man alive, we get the Hornet Chaser. This will allow us to summon up to 3 Hornets to attack for us. They can go and just gang up on an enemy and bully it to death. Or you can use it near an item that's out of reach, then the Hornet will go and grab that item and bring it to you. Yes, it'll even go through walls. It can't grab everything though, like E-Tanks, which are out of the question, but health and weapon energy, extra lives, bolts, none of those are trouble for these little guys. That and fresh meat, fresh meat, fresh meat. Now, how about that Splash Woman for our next challenge? Obviously, we got a water level on our hands, but that has rarely if ever been a problem in a Mega Man game. These octopus robots, though, they perplex me. They shoot out ink, which can just turn Mega Man completely black, and that's it. I didn't know if they did anything else, and in fact, upon doing a quick Google search, it's purely cosmetic. Also, to whomever thought that they were being cheeky by placing spikes in this drop, you also got this section where you need to ride these bubbles upwards, all the while avoiding some spikes and swordfish robots, but then you get to this bitch of a stage segment where you need to use these water tank platforms to get higher up in the stage, and I swear, this shit turns into a straight up puzzle. Like, you need to be methodical when going through this part. Splash Woman probably has the most complex attack pattern in this game, and it's still not much. She'll sing her siren song to summon her fish friends to attack us, while she rises to the top of the room to prepare for her next attack, that being launching lasers from her trident to pierce us. She has a severe allergic reaction to the Hornet Chaser, which just eats her alive. Like, damn, I actually kind of felt bad. For turning Splash Woman into a fish fillet, we take her laser trident. On the surface, it might seem like a more powerful buster shot, but the cool thing this weapon does is it can pierce through armor and shields. Take the Machine Gun Joes, for example. Normally you gotta wait for them to have their shields down before you can attack, but with the laser trident you don't have to wait as long and you can just go and take care of them right away. At last, our final Robot Master, Concrete Man. The start of his stage can be chaotic thanks to these birds that drop down these boulders that break apart when they collide with the ground, but fortunately the Jewel Satellite makes this a breeze. I will say that the 3 elephants that you gotta fight back to back left me strategizing as to the best way to take down all of them. The strategy I came up with is that you want to use the ladder to completely avoid getting hit by the first one, then I recommend just attacking the second one normally, and then unleashing some tornado blows on the final one to decrease your chance of falling into the pits when it sucks its ball back to itself. The second half requires paying close attention as some of the platforms are fake and will cause Mega Man to pass through them, which can be deadly. Also, you have to be quick on these arrow platforms as they'll quickly dart up or down as soon as you step on them. Gotta say though, I love the noise that they make. Nice, one more time. Concrete Man is kind of like a New Age Guts Man. He's built like a brick wall and packs the power to match. He'll jump into the air and slam into the ground, which can knock you on your ass for a few seconds, and that's on top of his ability to launch concrete out of his buster, which can lock you in place if it hits you, leaving you open to his dash attack. Fortunately, the laser trident not only breaks his concrete blocks, but deals great damage to him. For breaking apart Concrete Man, we get his Concrete Shot. This will allow you to shoot a glob of concrete that, if it comes in contact with a weak enemy, will encase them and cause them to disintegrate. That's not all, because if it doesn't hit an enemy, it'll form a block that you can use as a platform, which can be really useful, especially in the upcoming Wily Castle stages. When all 8 Robot Masters are defeated, we've managed to cop one of their memory circuit boards, which reveals that Dr. Wily manipulated the 8 Robot Masters as they were all past their expiration dates and scheduled for decommissioning, when Wily appealed to them saying that they were still useful and had a right to live. Thus, they trusted themselves to him, hence why they all went haywire. Now we can take on the Wily Castle, but before that, let's actually go into those extras that I mentioned earlier. Shortly after release, Mega Man 9 would actually receive DLC, and fortunately these are all included in the Legacy Collection, but they're unlockables now. You can unlock them by either completing the main game once, or by inputting this code on the title screen if you want to play with them just right out of the gate. Perhaps the simplest inclusions were additional difficulty settings, a hero mode and a superhero mode. These change the placements of enemies and add even more into every stage. It's not a whole lot, but it does make the journey more difficult. endless attack sees you needing to make it through an endless version of the Wily Castle, with battles against various enemies and even the 8 Robot Masters. You do get all 8 special weapons to aid you in your journey though. The special stage is a whole new level where you need to fight your way through the city, as well as rematch various mini-bosses from the main game in order to reach Fake Man. Finally, the last DLC addition is Proto Man mode, where you actually get to play through the whole game again, but for the first time ever, as Proto Man. He functions a bit differently from Mega Man in that he has his Proto Shield to block attacks, but he takes double damage and recoil, which makes him a glass cannon. Oh, but did I mention this motherfucker has the slide and charge shot? Well, we all agree that he just stole those from Mega Man while his armor was in the wash, yeah? Alright, with all the Robot Masters gone, we give chase to Dr. Wily and enter his new Wily Castle. Wily Castle 1 obviously is going to test you in ways that the other stages didn't, and they do this with a shit ton of spikes in the opening minutes. You gotta use the Tornado Blow to get these platforms to rise up and be careful not to touch the spikes in the process. We get to do a rematch against the Dragon mini-boss from earlier, which is still piss easy thanks to the Black Hole Bomb. That is then followed up by this really difficult section where you need to act fast to avoid the magma shooting out of the walls, and this shit gets super tight. Like, this one in particular felt near frame perfect. At least it's towards the end, so once you make it past it, it's just a few more screens before the boss. So, this is a unique fight. Spike Pushers is pretty much as the name describes. They fire blaster shots from their mouths to push these spike balls forward, but you can do the same, and in fact, that's how you beat this boss, with you needing to beat a certain number of them on each row to win. Just be careful of their special shot as it can go through the floors. Wily Castle 2. Holy hell, okay. This stage is probably one of the biggest leaps in difficulty in the entire game, with a lot more precise platforming, including these robots that will summon in fake floors to mess with you and cause you to fall through them, and sometimes that can lead to a pit or spikes. Top all of that off with the rematch against the Flower mini-boss from Hornet Man's level, and that's just the first half. The second half of this stage mostly takes place underwater with some really tight jumps needing to be made, especially this jump here. Who in the blazes is responsible for this? It's so unbearably tight that even cave divers would look at that and go, Jesus! I mean, they would still go for it though, I mean, let's be real. The amount of times this jump got me was absurd. Fuck you, Mega Man 8 Wily Castle 2 jump. Fuck you. Mega Mech Shark is the next boss, and it is a doozy. It's a 3-phase boss fight, so I recommend that if you don't have any E-tanks, but do have some lives to spare, come in here with full health. The first phase sees us needing to destroy the homing missile launcher by the tail fin, which thankfully the laser trident is more than capable of doing. Next is the underbelly, which will drop small sharks to attack us. You can use the tornado blow to launch the mini sharks back into the hatches, or use the magma bazooka as an alternative means to taking out the hatches. Finally is the head, where we need to destroy the cannon that's embedded in the mouth. Unfortunately, you can just stick Hornet Chasers on it, and if you get lucky, then the lasers from the cannon will rarely fire at Mega Man's height. Wily Castle 3 starts off fine with this anti-gravity segment that you can mess around in. You can't move Mega Man with the D-pad here, but instead you use shots from the Mega Buster to propel him around, which is actually really neat. Outside of that, the first half of the stage is very simple and easy compared to what came before. It's after, though, that can be a problem. In the next anti-gravity segment, you not only have to dodge enemies, but now spikes, and while it may seem hard at first, it's very simple once you get a grasp of this part. Even the top, which may seem very intimidating, is easy once you realize that the grabby robot that can latch on to Mega Man will actually guide you harmlessly to the right and even get you that M-Tank along the way. After that is some challenging platforming before we reach the boss of the level. The boss of Wily Castle 3 is the fucking Twin Devil, which is really a test of memory when you think about it. The gel of the devils will always move in the same pattern, with the pattern simply flipping sides after each cycle of the boss. It's weak to the Black Hole Bomb, but you want to make sure you only use it when the core exposes itself, when it moves from one devil to the other. Wily Castle 4 confused me at first with these laser pillars that, as far as I can tell, are mandatory to take damage from, but they do at least give you plenty of healing items along the way. Afterwards, it's our standard Robot Master rematches, so let's take this time to look at the special weapons of this game overall. Look, I really don't think that I need to say this at this point, but this game probably has the best special weapon selection of any classic Mega Man game, and it shows in spades. Black Hole Bomb rocks, Concrete Shot is great for aiding and platforming, Laser Trident, Plug Ball, Tornado Blow, and Magma Bazooka are all great for taking care of all sorts of enemies. Hornet Chaser is amazing for getting items and taking care of enemies that are out of reach. Jewel Satellite is one of the best shield weapons in the whole series. I think we can all agree when I say that Mega Man 9 special weapon selection has rightfully earned 10 imprisoned lights out of 10. Now every other Mega Man game special weapon selection is ruined for me forever. Finally, we can take on Dr. Wily in his new Wily Machine 9, which has a dinosaur look to it. It'll launch eggs with us needing to play a game of tennis and hit them back until they explode in Wily's face. Phase 2 sees the cockpit exposed with Wily attempting to crush Mega Man from above, as well as burn him to death with the machine's flamethrower. It's really tough, but if you manage, well, let's be honest, we know that this isn't the end. Wily emerges in Wily Capsule 9 and launches balls of electricity at us in various patterns, some of which trigger my Wily Capsule 7 PTSD. It's super hard, like, to a point where I'm just sitting here going, ah, no, fuck you, don't, you son of a bitch, no, fuck, there! Yeah, that's right, you leave! And don't come back! Hello? Is the game frozen, or, oh, I have to move Mega Man. We chase Wily down with him eventually submitting to Mega Man as Rush shows up, as we witness every single time that Mega Man and Wily have done this whole song and dance, which gave me a good chuckle. Also, hi Rush, haven't seen you this whole game. Hold it! Wily gives in and lets us go get Light, who he's been holding captive the entire time. Then suddenly Proto Man, who warns us that that's not the real Dr. Light, but Mega Man doesn't want to risk leaving Light behind, and sure enough, the fake Light goes off and stuns Mega Man unconscious, with Proto Man saving our hero as the Wily Castle self-destructs. We return home with the real Dr. Light as we see that all 8 of the Robot Masters have been restored and are enjoying life with our heroes now that the day is saved, ending Mega They, the 9th one that is actually the 10th one. Yeah, this game rocks. It's hard in the old school way, but it's still a blast to play. I mean, you could say that for all of classic Mega Man, really, but Mega Man 9 is a nice nostalgic throwback that I'm sure longtime fans of the series got a kick out of back when this released in 2008. I will say, the game does take a few too many steps back in my opinion. If you're playing these games in order, then the sudden lack of the slide and charge shot will really hurt. It makes the game feel like it's limiting itself in ways that harm the potential experience. Fortunately, everything else about the game definitely more than makes up for what Mega Man 9 took away. The special weapons are godly. Mega Man feels just as great to control as he did in the NES games. The level design is excellent and the bosses, while simple, are fun. Not to mention that DLC being included in the Legacy Collection sweetens the deal even further. Mega Man 9 is a great game and a fun return to form for the classic series. Well, Mega Man 9 would be successful enough to warrant Inti Creates to return 2 years later for the next entry in the classic series. Next time, we'll talk about the game that was nearly the final Mega Man game, Mega Man 10. Subscribe to the channel if that sounds fun to you and leave a like and a comment should you choose. And with all of that said, have a great day or night. Peace.